Welcome into another edition of Right on Rangers Live. Going at you guys a little bit late night tonight, busy evening, but did have a chance to go through most of the game, catch some of the highlights, the key moments. I followed the game mostly all the way through on my phone and on radio. Got to then check out the video a little bit later on. We're going to go through everything here in a minute for you, but for all of you that have been around, you kind of know what we do here. But if you are new here at Right On Rangers, we cover pretty much everything sports, but we put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers. Whether you're watching this live or catching it a little bit later on, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. So Rangers lose this one 5-2 today to the Phillies. Game 49 in the season. Rangers drop to 24 and 25, under 500, I believe for the first time this season. So the Rangers in a little bit of unfamiliar territory at this point. The Phillies improved their league best record to 35 and 14. Now I got to say, eye test. I didn't feel like the Rangers were overpowered or overmatched by the Phillies today. I feel like this was a game that was winnable for the Rangers. I don't think that this game really got out of hand until the bullpen came in. And we're going to get to the bullpen and talk about bullpen stuff in just a moment here. But I felt like as I watched both of these teams play, like the Rangers can handle the Phillies. They're not going to be overpowered. They're not going to be crazy outplayed in a given day. Now, I did know that the Phillies were on quite a losing streak against us going back to last year. Of course, I believe the Rangers and Phillies opened up at the beginning of last season, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little while. But it was kind of a crazy losing streak that the Phillies were on. Honestly, they were due for a game, no doubt. And Ranger Suarez, outstanding pitcher that he is, I said in my reel earlier today. Steve, I'm looking at your comment now on Instagram here. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining in. I know Ranger Suarez, I could arguably say he is the best pitcher in baseball right now with how he's going. I thought that the Rangers did well to get a run off of him early on. I know that later on he's kind of settled in, and the Rangers just naturally struggle against left-handed pitchers. It is what it is. But you didn't feel like I don't think I'm trying to be disrespectful here to the Phillies at all. I think the Phillies are a phenomenal team. They've got the best record in baseball for a reason. My comment is, didn't feel like there was a crazy amount of a gap between the two teams if you're just watching the game as it plays out. Obviously, Ranger Suarez is a great pitcher, and he outdueled Jon Gray tonight, who pitched very well, I thought, before leaving with the groin tightness. Kind of just the way that it's been going for the Rangers, though, is it not? I mean, when you saw Jon Gray leaving with 75 pitches, I mean, I think my initial thought was, you've got to be kidding me. Another Rangers starter goes down with an injury. Now, I know we've got a couple of guys coming back, a couple of guys that are on the verge, perhaps Avaldi, perhaps Dunning is going to be coming back shortly here. That would be great. But we've been saying it for a long time on these lives. The problem with the Rangers right now is not it's not pitching, it's hitting. All right, the hitting for the Rangers, there's a lot to unpack. The biggest thing, though, that stands out to me with the Rangers is their lack of situational hitting. And we're going to break that down here in just a minute. I am going to check out some comments here as we go. So, I mean, first of all, the Harper home run, and I believe that was when Jon Gray left the game, if I'm not mistaken there. The Harper home run was a big moment, I thought, where really Jon Gray had been keeping the Rangers in the game, kind of matching Ranger Suarez up to that point. Harper hits the bomb, and that's coming off of a relief pitcher coming in. And I do feel like it changed the game. It did seem like from there it was kind of like, okay, here we go. It made the game 3-1, which again, not unreachable, but if you've been watching the Rangers, you know some of these 2, 3 run deficits feel like 5 or 6. I mean, it has been really, really tough for the Rangers to come back from some of these leads, even that seem kind of small. So, really, once the Phillies got to the bullpen, that's all she wrote. We had Latz come in, gave up the bomb to Harper. Impressive off Harper, off the lefty lefty situation is what I was getting at there. Harper going homer off a lefty. I mean, I know that it's not like lefties are like a weakness for him. Harp can definitely hit the lefties, but for him to in that situation, obviously the Rangers are trying to go lefty lefty, and Harp goes ahead and just sends one into the seats. It's demoralizing. And you look at, what Jon Gray was able to do. It was a 2-1 game when he left. 75 pitches. You figure Jon Gray probably goes one more inning at that point. And up to that spot, I know Harper had walked against Gray. I'm just going through really quickly here, y'all. So forgive me. Harper walked in the first inning. He doubled in the fourth inning. So look, it's not, I don't think it's like I don't think it's very likely that Jon Gray is like going to strike out Harper in that spot. Harp's probably going to put up a good at bat. Don't know if Gray is going to give up a homer to Harper there, but you just never know with baseball. But the bottom line is the Phillies got to the Rangers bullpen and made them pay. So then you have Cole Winn coming in. Cole Winn has not looked very good over his last outings. He is 691 ERA at the moment, and it just has not looked good for him lately. 1 1/3 tonight for Cole Winn, 3 hits, didn't walk anybody, but the Phillies were just kind of hitting him around the yard at the end there. They tack on a couple runs in the bottom of the eighth inning. That kind of sealed the deal there. Rangers made it interesting, right? It was 3-2. And you thought, okay, maybe there's a shot, here if we can get to the ninth inning, but the 2 runs given up by Cole Winn, just a killer. And this is kind of the problem with the Rangers at this point, honestly. The Rangers aren't able to have that kind of depth that's needed when it's not in like a save situation, right? So it's not like a 1, 2, 3 run lead or tied, but you're down one, you're down two. The Rangers are really lacking the guys that can come in that spot and keep the game close when you're losing by 1 or 2. You know who the Rangers are going to throw with the game maybe up by 1, up by 2. It's going to be David Robertson, former Philly, by the way, right? David Robertson. And you know that they're throwing Kirby Yates after that. But when the Rangers are down by 1, down by 2, like they were tonight, they just do not have a guy that can come in and consistently pitch well. Do they occasionally get a nice outing from somebody? Absolutely, they do. But is it consistent? No, it's not. The Rangers are doing anything they can to try and get somebody that can keep the game close when they're down 1, down 2, but they're just not finding it. So the Phillies get to the bullpen. That's kind of the story of the game there. By the way, I'm just looking at the box score right now. Ranger Suarez, 10 strikeouts tonight. He was dealing. The Rangers did well, like I said, to put up a run. What was it in the third inning? I was kind of thinking, okay, look, Simeon, it wasn't like he hit that ball 100 miles an hour. Well, I think it was about a 70-mile-an-hour hit, kind of a lucky double, if you ask me. But hey, we'll take it off one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. Just to get on the board and draw first blood, I thought was huge. But y'all know what one of my pet peeves is? You draw first blood, you score the first run, and then you immediately give a run back. And that's what the Rangers did in the bottom of the third. It's just never ideal. You want to score a run, put up a 0. Score a run, put up a 0. Score 3 or 4 runs, put up a 0. You know what I mean? The Rangers not able to do that. It's unfortunate. Jon Gray pitched well tonight. I'm not going to get on him too much. Probably was battling a little bit of an injury, clearly leaving with the groin tightness. We'll see what the deal is with Jon Gray. It's crazy though, y'all. I really don't even care about the Jon Gray injury. Like, yes, it's concerning, but I really think the Rangers are going to be fine. I don't feel like some foreboding, like just like crazy doubt about how the Rangers are going to be without Jon Gray. The pitching has never been the problem. They'll probably throw somebody out there that's going to give you 5 innings, 2 or 3 earned runs, just like Jon Gray did tonight. The pitching is just not the problem right now for the Rangers. Absolutely not. It's hitting. And let's talk about the hitting tonight. So let's go up and down the box score here. Corey Seager obviously hits the home run. I know they reviewed it. It was going to be an extra base hit either way, but Corey Seager, good to see him hit a bomb, but 4 strikeouts for Seager. My goodness. I'm a little bit worried to see all of these Ks just up and down, but maybe you do just chalk it up to it's Ranger Suarez, one of the best pitchers in baseball. You're going to have nights like this, but to see 13 strikeouts from the Rangers, not good. Not good. Anytime you are not putting the ball in play that much, you're not going to win very many ball games. And you look on the other side with what the Phillies were able to do, 7 strikeouts. You're only striking outs in the single digits. That's pretty solid. That means that the Phillies had 20 outs that were put in play. Look, regardless, you're putting the ball in play that much. That's why the Phillies are as good as they are right now. 35 and 14. And you had their first 4 hitters. You look at the Phillies box score, 1 through 4 has 8 hits. Everybody in the Phillies 1 through 4 multi-hit games. Wouldn't you just love to see that in this Rangers lineup? I would take Simeon and Seager going for multi-hit. The Phillies went 1 through 4. Schwarber, Realmuto, Harper, and my goodness, cleanup even goes 2 for 4 with 2 RBI as well. So look, I wish I could be saying that this Phillies box score was ours. The Phillies do a good job of putting the ball in play. You got to give it to them. They're a good baseball team. Tons of respect for their club and what they got going. Right? I like the Phillies as a team as long as they're not playing the Rangers. I really do. They've got a good ball club. Got to respect it. Wish they would have beat the Astros a couple of years ago. I'm not trying to bring up anything or rub it in. I'm just saying I was cheering hard for the Phillies to beat the Stros a couple of years back. Didn't happen. Hopefully, if it ever works out that they rematch, they can get the win in that one. I really, really was pulling for the Phillies that year they played the Stros, 100%. I like the Phillies club a lot. Bryce Harper, one of my favorite players. Just a player that you don't want to play, though, right? As long as he's not playing the Rangers, one of my favorite players, Harp. Love him. Think he's a great hard-nosed player. I know some people are kind of rubbed the wrong way by him, but man, this Phillies lineup, it's a great lineup. Got to admit. Look, I appreciate. I'm looking, by the way, at all the comments as quick as I can here. Steve, I appreciate that. I do remind myself that the comment was, by the way, for those of y'all that aren't on Instagram, it's basically like don't be too hard on yourself. The Rangers won the World Series, and that's from a Phillies fan, by the way. So Steve, we appreciate that, bud. Appreciate that. Got to have that reminder. The Rangers won the World Series. We got to have that perspective on tough nights like tonight. And it was another tough night for the Rangers. One thing that I want to talk about is just the Rangers' lack of ability. And it's not even just hitting, it's situational hitting. And what do we mean by situational hitting? We're talking about the ability to look at the situation on the base pass, the number of outs there are, who's on second, third, whatever the case is, and having the right mentality up at the plate. Having the right mentality up at the plate. So, a big moment for me, I want to take you guys to the top of the 4th inning. So, at that point, the Phillies had just tied the game. It's the top of the 4th. Phillies actually took the lead in the bottom of the 4th. Top of the 4th, though, Jonah Heim, Rangers catcher, doubles, leading off. Zeke Duran comes up, and I posted this on Facebook. I don't think I posted it anywhere else. But if you look at the pitch that Zeke Duran decides to swing at, pitch number 1, right? The very first pitch after Jonah Heim doubles, right? He swings at a pitch that's about a foot inside, a cutter. So Suarez is trying to get in on his hands. And first pitch, you're swinging at a cutter about a foot inside. And think through, what is Duran's job after a guy goes lead off double? What are you trying to do up there? You're trying to get that runner over to third. So you have runner on third with 1 out. So you have a ton of ways that you can get a runner from third with 1 out home. You can hit a ground ball right side. You can hit a sac fly. There could be a wild pitch and the runner gets home. You want to get that runner to third base at minimum. That is your goal, especially if you're hitting towards the bottom of the order. Your goal at minimum is to move runners. And for Zeke Duran to swing at an inside pitch a foot inside, cutter. I just am mind boggled by the lack of situational awareness that some of these Rangers hitters have, especially at the bottom of the order. So in Zeke's spot, you're looking for a pitch outside that you can take oppo. You're looking for a ball that you can square up, that you can drive, maybe get something deep to the outfield. So at least there's a sac fly opportunity there. But to be swinging at a pitch in on your hands, a foot inside, first pitch, you're not even thinking about trying to advance the runner in that spot. And to me, that's a big problem with a lot of the Rangers hitters. It's just free swinging up there sometimes. Free swinging. There's no thought to the process of what does the team need right here. And if there is, I absolutely don't see it in the results. When you've got a guy coming up right behind a dude that's just let off the inning with a double, your one job is how can I get this guy to third base? Great. If you drive him in, excellent. Right? It's not like we're saying Zeke Duran needs to purposefully try to get an out. But at minimum, your mentality is oppo, oppo, oppo. Get the ball to the right side so Jonah Heim can advance. You can hit a hard line drive, base hit oppo. You can hit a double in the gap oppo, but you're not trying to pull the ball when a runner is on second base and you're trying to get him to third with one out or less. So Zeke Duran there, big moment there. I really thought the Rangers needed to tack back on in the top of the fourth inning after the Phillies had just tied the game in the bottom of the third. And just in general, you just do not see this Rangers team play enough small ball. When this team is struggling as much as it is, I can only tell you what I would like to see. Clearly, I don't get paid the big bucks. That's Bochy, Maddox, Venable, all those guys. But I want to see this team manufacture some runs. When you are this terrible of an offense, and the Rangers are not a good offense right now, they have guys on paper that can play very, very well and can hit the ball very, very well. But the Rangers are not a good offense right now. They're not. They're not playing well. And when you're not in a good place offensively, manufacture some runs. You get a double from a guy like Jonah Heim, you need to be thinking, and I do think this is coaching. This is a philosophy thing. And I can imagine that in Bochy's mind, it's, hey, this is a big spot. Zeke, he's hitting 280, hitting 290. He has swung a good bat in past games. Let's let him swing. Or hey, we trust him to be able to have the right mentality up there. But time and time again, you just see that the Rangers' bottom of the order hitters don't have the right mentality up there. And I think you've also seen that they lack ability to bunt and to do those little things at times. I trust a guy like Travis Jankowski, but Leody Taveras, Zeke Duran, when have you seen them like first pitch lay down a beautiful bunt? I gotta think that the Rangers are practicing these kinds of things, but it feels like there's just no confidence in the bottom of the order laying down a bunt, moving runners over. So you're just saying, hey, let's just let them swing away, whatever. I mean, I just have no idea why in that spot you've got Zeke Duran coming up, manufacture a run, put a bunt down, right? Bunt and then suicide squeeze, whatever. Like, you have got to figure out how to manufacture runs. I don't know why we're depending on the bottom of the order coming up with clutch hits. To me, when the offense is not playing well, and they're not right now, I'm not banking on people coming up with clutch hits. I'm just not. I'm trying to manufacture a run, and I'm trying to score any way that I can instead of just relying on the traditional, yep, we're going to get a line drive here. We're going to get an extra base hit here. That's not what's going on right now with this team. You cannot count on that. I wouldn't be counting on that. So for me, I need to see better situational hitting. I hope that it's something that the Rangers start moving towards if the struggles offensively continue. It seems like they're being a little bit stubborn right now. Hey, guys are going to come through. They're going to figure it out. We're just going to ride this one out, and we're going to continue to do what we've always done. We don't need that small ball. Let's just let guys hit away, and eventually we're going to get a hit. I don't love it. It's been enough time this probably 2 weeks now that the offense really hasn't been playing well. Some people would say it's been a month. Why are we not moving more towards a small ball mentality in these kinds of situations? Great. You got a lead off double. Now do something with it. Don't always need to play for the big inning. Sometimes just need to get a run. Just a run. And I feel like the Rangers right now being a little bit stubborn and not willing to make that change, or don't have confidence in the guys to have those good at bats, good quality at bats, or to do those little things right. I feel like they just don't trust some of the bottom of the order guys to bunt a man over. I mean, you watched Zeke Duran, was it against the Angels on Saturday in the extra inning game? Zeke Duran literally, I mean, went first pitch, terrible bunt, second pitch, terrible bunt attempt, and then they just had to have him hit away. So, I mean, I really, really feel like there's either no confidence in the bottom of the order's ability to actually do the right thing situationally in some of those big spots, or there's just a stubbornness to not do anything different than what they've been doing, and for guys to, hey, they're going to figure it out. Like they can't be this terrible forever, right? Eventually it's going to change. I think it's either one of those two things, but I'd like to see this Rangers team be better with their situational hitting. Now, continuing on, we are going to talk a little bit about tomorrow's matchup. We already kind of went through the bullpen, and we discussed all of that, all of that mess that is the lack of depth with the Rangers in their pen. They just need to find some guys that are able to keep the game close when it's not a traditional save situation. And that's all we'll say. The Rangers are struggling in that department right now. It'll help when they get some guys back healthy. But at this point, who knows? It's a revolving door, and you just don't know who to trust from game to game. So at this point, I'm going to move forward, try and flush this one out. As my good bud Steve told me, just enjoy the fact that the Rangers won the World Series last year on nights like tonight. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Clearly, you can see my frustration. I know Rangers Nation is frustrated with how the team's been playing. So don't take it in any way. Don't take it in any way like we're just trying to oversimplify tonight. It's a bad loss tonight. It's not good. Offense did not play well. Bullpen did not pitch well. But at the same time, we got to keep things in perspective. A lot of injuries coming off of a long World Series run. It happens sometimes. You go on those long runs in October, and the next year, it's tough to make it back again and be the same team. It just is. I'm checking Instagram comments right now. Who is let's check out the matchup for tomorrow. The Phillies pitcher. We'll cover the Rangers pitcher as well. Let's check this out. Let's look at tomorrow's game. Enough about tonight's game, right? Tomorrow's game, we've got Dunning going. Okay, so like I said, Rangers getting Dane Dunning back. He has been skipped, probably about 2 or 3 times in the rotation, Dane Dunning. And Walker pitching for the Phillies, 491 ERA. I do like to see the fact that he's right-handed. Anytime I look at the pitching matchup for the next day for the Rangers, I don't even look at the name first. I look to see, are we facing a lefty? Because if we are, it's going to be a rough day. If we're not, then you know what? Maybe we have a chance. And so is it yeah, Taiwan Walker, right? He's kind of been around the league a little bit with a few different teams. He started out with Seattle, that's right. And then he went to Arizona for a few years, went to the Mets, and now he's been with the Phillies for a couple of years now. So last year with the Phillies, he was at a 4.38 ERA. He's at 4.91, but undefeated. So clearly, even though Taiwan Walker has not been at his best, the Phillies have been giving him some run support, because at this point, if you're 4-0, you're 4-0. or 3-0, whatever he is right now, 3-0, you're getting some run support if you got a 491 ERA. You've got Rangers pitchers with a sub 3 ERA with a losing record. And then you've got Taijuan Walker 3-0 with a 490 ERA. Hey, that's how good this Phillies offense is, man. That's what it is. Phillies offense is very, very good. And you can have a 490 ERA when you've got an offense that is clicking. That is a nice problem to have, a 490 ERA, but hey, you're 3-0 and your numbers are not looking too shabby. When you've got some great run support, that's what the Rangers need to do for their starting pitching, y'all. Seriously. So I'm looking forward to the matchup tomorrow. I feel like there are going to be some runs scored. I think the variable is Dunning and how sharp he'll be coming off injury. So, like I said, Dane Dunning, the Rangers starter for tomorrow, has been skipped, I want to say 2 or 3 times. He was pitching, I thought, pretty well before the injury. His ERA, by the way, as we look at kind of all the stats here for tomorrow's game, we're going to look at the preview as well for the career numbers of how each lineup has hit off of each pitcher, respectively, in their careers. But the Rangers for tomorrow, Dane Dunning, 4.10 ERA. And he's actually one of the few Rangers starting pitchers with a winning record. Dunning, in his last 3 starts, looks like Seattle, he gave up 4 runs. Cincinnati gave up 1 earned run. KC, he gave up 2 earned runs in about 5 innings pitched. So over his last 13 innings or so, 6 earned runs. But then, of course, he went down with the injury. I think y'all remember his start against Cincinnati in late April. Dunning struck out 10. So Dane Dunning, not sure what we're going to get from him tomorrow. Always hard when a guy is coming fresh off an injury to know exactly what you're going to get. I probably think that each one of these starting pitchers, I kind of agree with some of the comments here. I feel like each pitcher is probably only going to go about 5, maybe 6. 6 is probably a little generous for Dunning. I would be surprised if Dunning went 6 tomorrow. Taijuan Walker, same thing. I'd be surprised if he goes past 6 tomorrow. So that means it's going to be a little bit of a bullpen game at the very end. We better hope the Rangers have a lead going into that 6th, 7th inning, because if not, we are going to be seeing more of what we saw today. Just mixing and matching and crossing your fingers and saying a prayer that the Rangers bullpen guys have their A game, because it could be a little bit rough if we don't get length out of Dane Dunning tomorrow. That's kind of how I feel. And if the bats aren't going, obviously it's the same situation. Now let's preview and let's see what the career numbers are against each pitcher. So let me pull that up for you guys right now. Let's start with the Phillies and what their numbers are against Dane Dunning in Dane Dunning's career. So checking out up and down their lineup, looks like they've got nobody with a homer off of Dane Dunning. And look, the only guys that have double digit at bats off Dane Dunning, Marsh and Merrifield. And Marsh absolutely rakes off Dane Dunning. So Marsh is hitting 545 with 11 at bats. So he's a guy to look out for. Schwarber is 2 for 4 in his career off Dunning. So beyond that, Castellanos is 1 for 2. So there's some guys with small sample sizes. Stott is batting 1 for 2, 500 average. So look, in the probably one game that some of these guys saw Dunning, looks like they did hit him pretty well. There's not many guys that have seen him overall in the roster. Real Muto has not faced Dunning. Harper has not faced Dunning. Clemens has not faced Dunning. So there's a few guys that haven't even seen him, and that can always go either way. You guys know I've talked about that a lot. It's like when you've never faced a guy before, you either absolutely rake off of him or it's not a very good day at the plate. It's just kind of what it feels like happens most of the time. So we're gonna see. Look, with how Harper's hitting right now, I'm not gonna be surprised if he has another big day tomorrow. Harp is just an incredible hitter. And yeah, I saw a couple of you guys. Absolutely. Bryce Harper, Las Vegas native. Another reason I like him, Las Vegas native. Didn't really get a chance to see him a lot. I think he was kind of already getting drafted in the minor leagues by the time I got out here to Vegas in the early 2010s. He was kind of already doing his community college thing that he did. He went to like the Nevada Community College out here, absolutely dominated, and then he went to the Washington Nationals, of course, rose through the ranks, played with them for a while, and now, of course, he's with the Phillies for a long, long time. But yeah, Bryce Harper, fun to watch as long as he's not playing your team. On the other side, against Walker, so Grossman, who I've kind of said, guys, great trade in terms of like feel good factor. But beyond that, Robbie Grossman has not played very well since the Rangers have acquired him. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. He is hitting 385 off Taiwan Walker with a home run. So maybe we see Robbie Grossman tomorrow. Andrew Kisner in 7 at bats is hitting 429. Corey Seager, 1 home run, hitting 278 in 18 at bats. Marcus Simeon does have a home run off Walker, but is hitting 176 in 17 at bats. So beyond that, there's really nobody else that's faced Walker. Jankowski is 0 for 5. Nobody else beyond that. By the way, one last thing before we start wrapping things up, we'll do a little ALS roundup. Derek Hill, I thought, played very well tonight. Derek Hill has bounced around the league a little bit. He has done a couple of stints in the majors with Detroit and then with Washington last year. Found himself in the Rangers minor leagues this year. Was hitting over 300, over 1,000 OPS in AAA. They decided to call him up, and tonight he goes 2 for 3 with a walk. So on base 3 times, making his debut for the Rangers. That sure would be a bright spot if Derek Hill can maybe do a little DHing. Maybe he can kind of slide into that Robbie Grossman role against lefties. That would be phenomenal to get your first hit this season off Ranger Suarez. No easy task. So glad to see Derek Hill stepping into the lineup and having a nice night at the plate. Absolutely awesome from him. So Derek Hill, 2 for 3 with the walk. We'll see what the Rangers do with him. If they're going to be actually giving him some time to kind of get in the lineup and get his feet wet, or if he's going to be kind of a spot guy. But look, with how terrible this offense has been playing, I don't know how you don't give Derek Hill more of an opportunity. Ride that guy until he goes cold. Clearly, he's found a little something this year down in AAA. And hey, game one, there was some good carryover from what he's done in AAA. So I'd give Derek Hill a chance. I do not think that they need to be sitting him on the bench tomorrow, coming off of a great game. Clearly, there's the righty righty matchup tomorrow, but that's not anything as concerning as a lefty lefty matchup. I think they got to go with Derek Hill tomorrow. See what the kid's got. See if he's got another 2 hit game in him. Surely, as you look up and down this Rangers lineup, I don't think there's really anybody that you would rather see than him as we look at the bench and other factors at this point. Put Derek Hill in there again and let him work. That's what I'd be doing. So good to see a solid debut from Derek Hill. Still don't have a strong word on Wyatt Langford and how he's progressing. While we're talking here, let me look it up and see if I can figure out anything. So it doesn't look like there's really any new news. The last news story on Wyatt Langford was 2 weeks ago. So don't know how he's progressing. Hopefully, we'll get an update on that soon. But Wyatt Langford has not really been in the news big time. I think they said he'd be out, maybe about a month or so. And I think we're still within that time frame. Look, Wyatt Langford was not playing his best baseball before the injury. So at this point, I can't say the Rangers are missing Wyatt Langford, but I would like to see him go down to AAA for his rehab, get right. Maybe he'll come back a new hitter, refreshed, ready to go on a little bit of a tear. That's what I would like to see. That would sure be nice if they could start having some of these guys these young guys, especially Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, get back on track. Now, as we look around the league tonight, couple of things. First of all, the Astros, I believe, won their game in extra innings against the Angels. Astros jump up to 22-27 after that win against the Angels in Houston in extra innings. Beyond that, the A's beat the Rockies 5-4 in Oakland. The Mariners beat the Yankees. That's a big win for the Mariners on the road to extend their division lead. Mariners win 6-3 over the Yanks in New York. And that is our AL West roundup. So as we look at the standings, Mariners are in first place and they lead the division now by 3 games. Rangers still in second place. They are 2 games ahead of the Astros, who are in third place. Astros are 5 games back of the Mariners, 2 games back of the Rangers. Oakland, 7.5 back of the Mariners, and the Angels are 8 games back of the Mariners. Rangers right now have only won 2 of their last 10 games. Astros have won 8 of their last 10 games. So you've seen the Astros gain a bunch of ground. We've said all season long the Rangers needed to take advantage of the Astros' slow start. They haven't done that. And unfortunately, you see the Astros finding their footing, gaining some ground. You really missed out on an opportunity with the Astros being in such a rut to start the year. That would have been a great time for the Rangers. They could have, if they would have been on a little bit of a better clip, they could have put 10, I would say 10 plus games of separation between themselves and the Astros. They didn't play well against some of the bad teams in the league, didn't take advantage of that, and they find themselves only 2 games up on the Astros, who were 10 plus games under 500 a couple of weeks ago. So it's unfortunate that the Rangers didn't take advantage of that. It is a long season, but the Rangers are going to be kicking themselves for some of these bad losses at the beginning of the year when it's coming down to a game or two at the end of the year. So right now, you can understand the Rangers dropping some games to the Phillies. The Phillies are the best team in baseball right now. At least if you look at their record-wise, they are. So I can understand the Rangers dropping 2 out of 3 to the Phillies, getting swept by the Rockies, not taking care of business against the Angels. That's not acceptable. So the Rangers, they need to get at least one up in Philly. Hopefully they can go to Minnesota, take 2 out of 3. The Twins, let's look at their record real quick. Twins are at 25-23. The Twins went on an absolute tear and now are like the Rangers, 2-8 in their last 10 games. So the Twins have cooled off quite a bit. So this is an opportunity this weekend, I think, for the Rangers to take 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. I'll be happy if the Rangers can get 1 out of these 3 games in Philly on the road against the best team in baseball. I'm not going to sit here and rail on them for not winning this series, but would that be nice if they could somehow figure it out and win the next 2? Absolutely. But I think the expectation needs to be let's get 1 in Philly. Let's win 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. And then I believe we come back home after that. So I think this is just a week long road trip, if I'm not mistaken. I believe on Monday we have an off day after those 3 games in Minnesota. So Monday's an off day. And then on Tuesday, so we're talking about a week from today, the Rangers will host the Diamondbacks, a little World Series rematch. So Diamondbacks are 23-26 right now. So both World Series teams, interesting. Both World Series teams a little bit slow coming out the gate. But you know what I'm interested in that Diamondback series? Are we going to see Monty? Are we going to see Jordan Montgomery in that Diamondback series a week from today? Looks like that Diamondback series is going to be, I'm trying to see if it's going to be a 2 or a 3 game set. I think it's just a 2 game set. Rangers have a lot of off days coming up. It's kind of nice. So they've got this coming Monday off, and then they've got a week from Thursday off as well. So Rangers have a nice little schedule coming up here where they get a couple of days to breathe and recover. Hopefully, the Rangers against the Diamondbacks, the Twins can get some wins. This is going to be a tough series to get a series win in Philly. Maybe the Rangers can get it done. I have tempered my expectations, though, the rest of the way. I'm looking to get 1 out of 3. Just don't get swept. Don't get swept. Take 1 out of 3 in Philly. Win your series against Minnesota in Minnesota. By the way, kind of interesting. The Mavs and the Rangers both going to be in Minnesota at the same time. Of course, the Mavs are going to be there for game 1 against the Timberwolves at Target Center, and the Rangers will be over at Target Field. That would sure be a fun weekend if you're a Rangers fan in the DFW area and a Mavs fan. Get a ticket to Minneapolis, go watch the Rangers one night, go watch the Mavs the next night. That would be like a dream weekend for me. That would be an awesome, awesome weekend. And right now, Minneapolis, the weather's got to be getting a little bit better right now. I would have to expect. It's definitely probably not snowing, but you never know. Minnesota in May can sometimes be a little bit iffy. But let's see what we got for weather in Minneapolis this weekend. Looks like at this point on Saturday, it's going to be 75 degrees. Friday, rainy and 70. Sunday, 75 and sunny. So look, some decent weather there. Getting to be Minnesota summer. It is a beautiful place in the summertime, that's for sure. Keep me away during the winter. But hey, Mavs and Rangers both going to be there this coming weekend. Hopefully, we can leave Minneapolis, both Mavs and Rangers, with some wins. That's the plan. So at this point, we're going to wrap things up. I'm going to just do a quick check on comments, make sure I didn't miss anybody, but I appreciate all y'all tuning in. You know that. Thank you so much. And I would say at this point, Langford, oh, cool. Little Langford update here. Natalie, did you see this? Was this one of the Rangers reporters saying this? Diamondback series, maybe? Hey, great. If that's the case, that would be awesome. But he would probably, unless they're not, are they not going to do a rehab start or a rehab stint, I should say, with Langford? Because that would be pretty quick turnaround. That would be a pretty quick turnaround. He'd have to go on a rehab assignment pretty soon here if they're going to do a rehab assignment at all for him to come back for that Diamondback series. Maybe they'll just do a little weekend rehab and then Monday off day, and then Tuesday he'll get the start. There you go. That could work. Let me keep scrolling here. Aaron, thanks for tuning in, by the way, man. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Misinformation. Yeah, I don't know. Don't I don't even know what that's referring to. Mikey, if you're still watching, bud, chime in. No idea what you're referring to there. No idea what I said was false, but hey, enlighten me, please, if you get a chance. We're just checking comments on YouTube and everything right now. It's hard to get them all, y'all, but we're trying to work at it. um, let me look at this one. I wonder what the average is against lefties when Young is in the lineup. When I was on another live, we looked at the records of when Young is playing versus not, and it's a crazy difference. Okay, yeah, and we did talk about this a little bit too. So Josh Young hits lefties very well. Last year, I think he was like a 330 hitter against lefties. Now, as a team last year, I don't know how the Rangers hit against lefties. So Texas Rangers 2023 team splits. Let's see if I can get something up real quick, y'all. It's gonna be a little tough on the fly, as you know, but I'm gonna see if I can figure this out here. So 2023, look, and Josh Young missed some games. I'm not going to be able to get the Young stats, like when Young was playing versus when he wasn't. But the Rangers against lefties last year actually hit better than they hit against righties last year. So last year, 2023 season, the Rangers were 267 against lefties and 261 against righties. Isn't that crazy? And that's with mostly the same team. That's mostly with the same team here. I mean, you don't have Garver, and again, we've talked about Garver. We love Garv sauce, but he's not having a good year in Seattle for the Mariners. I think he's hitting under 200. So you don't have Garver. They got Grossman back, and Grossman was getting some starts here and there, but this is basically the same lineup with a few tweaks, like a couple of guys here and there. So it's really tough to figure out what it could be. Obviously, Josh Young is a big reason why this average is what it is last year. Again, Young hit, I think it was over 330 against lefties. So clearly it matters. We need that guy back. He can't get back soon enough. So, with that being said, tomorrow we will have a reel out to you guys maybe a little bit earlier on in the afternoon before game time. I think it's another 5:40 start if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 5:40 Texas time, 3:40 Vegas time. So, I think the last game maybe is the day game, getaway game. And by the way, I'm curious right now, so I'm just going to look it up. I want to see who the Rangers are throwing on Thursday if I can. My computer's having one of those crazy freeze out moments, unfortunately. Tomorrow, by the way, Dane Dunning pitching, right? So we'll see about Thursday. Maybe it's Heaney. Maybe it's Urania. I think as I was doing kind of the mapping out of all of our pitchers, that it would be one of those guys. Maybe we'll see Andrew Heaney on Thursday. That would be my best guess at this point, but we'll see. So, anyways, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and start signing off, y'all. Now, we'll see y'all probably maybe a little bit earlier on after the game tomorrow. I'm going to try and hop on a little bit sooner. Like I said, tonight, busy night, had a lot of different things going on, but we got it done. So tomorrow, we'll come at you guys a little bit quicker after game time, perhaps. We'll see. We will see, but we've been pretty consistent. I don't think we've missed a game. We didn't do the first couple games of the season, but we've been doing pretty good. A little pat on the back if you don't mind. We got to celebrate the little things around here, especially when the Rangers aren't doing so hot. Okay, let's close it up, y'all. Thank you again. Last thing I want to ask, if you're not following or if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, would really appreciate if you would consider doing so. And if possible, share this with a Rangers fan. You know somebody that loves the Rangers. Let's build this community. The more people we get on here, the comments, it's great. I love it. It's why I started this, wanting to talk Rangers baseball, baseball in general, all things sports. Uh, with as many people as possible. I love doing it. That's why I started this. So share this with somebody that you know loves Rangers baseball or loves baseball. I would really, really appreciate it. And as we always say before we sign off, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Tuesday night.